Prince bet Michael Jackson $10,000. He couldn't write a hit in 30 minutes. He did it in 28. Prince bet Michael Jackson $10,000 he couldn't write a hit song in 30 minutes. The studio was thick with tension and creative energy as two legends sat facing each other across a mixing board in Sunset Sound Studios, Hollywood. It was March 1987, and Prince was grinning like a chess master who'd just put his opponent in check. Michael Jackson looked up from his notepad, his sequined glove catching the studio lights. The room went silent. Engineers froze at their consoles. Session musicians stopped warming up. Everyone knew what they were witnessing. Two titans of pop music testing each other's limits. By the end of those 30 minutes, one of the greatest songs in pop history would exist. But what happened next would create the most legendary recording session in music history. It started as a friendly conversation at Quincy Jones's birthday party 3 hours earlier. The two biggest stars in the world, Michael Jackson and Prince, found themselves alone on Quincy's balcony overlooking Los Angeles. "Your problem," Prince had said, sipping champagne, "is you overthink everything. You spend months perfecting one song. Real creativity comes from instinct, not calculation." Michael smiled. "And your problem is thinking speed equals quality. Some of us believe in craftsmanship." "Craftsmanship?" Prince laughed. "I can write a hit faster than you can choose which shoes to wear." "Prove it," Michael shot back. 2 hours later, they were at Sunset Sound Studios. Prince had called ahead. He practically lived there anyway. Michael brought his usual small crew, his sound engineer Bruce Swedian and his assistant Sarah Chen. Now they sat across from each other, the bet on the table. "Real money," Prince said, pulling out a thick envelope. "So you know I'm serious." Michael nodded, eyes fixed on the studio clock. "Rules? Song's got to be complete. Verse, chorus, bridge, full arrangement. Something radio would actually play. And it's got to be something you'd put your name on." Michael picked up his favorite pen, the one he'd used to write Billie Jean. He tested it on paper, making small notes. The room went silent. Prince walked to the observation window. "Roll tape on everything. I want every second documented." "You won't believe what happened next." Prince returned and looked at Michael, who sat with his notepad, fingers tapping rhythmically on the table. "You ready, MJ? What time is it?" 11:47 p.m. Prince pulled up a chair directly across from Michael. "One more thing. Whatever you write has to make me want to dance." "If it doesn't make me dance," Prince said, his voice sharp with challenge, "you lose." "That wasn't part of the bet." "It is now." Michael smiled slightly. "You're afraid I'll actually do it." "I'm afraid you'll think you did it when you didn't." Prince glanced at the studio clock. 11:49. "All right, Michael. 30 minutes startin' now." The first 2 minutes were agonizing. Michael sat motionless, eyes closed, pen hovering over paper. Was he frozen? Then his hand moved. Words appeared. Smooth. He crossed it out. Criminal. He paused, then wrote it again. At minute 3, rhythm started. Michael's foot began tapping, not consciously, but instinctively finding a beat. Prince's eyebrows raised. He recognized the signs of creation beginning. 5 minutes in, Michael's lips moved silently, testing syllables against the rhythm only he could hear. 7 minutes. Michael's pen moved faster now. Words flowed across the page, not sentences, but fragments, pieces of story waiting to be assembled. Annie, are you okay? Are you okay, Annie? The words came out in a whisper. Prince leaned forward. This wasn't random scribbling. This was something taking shape. 10 minutes. Michael stood up, started moving. Not dancing exactly, but embodying the rhythm he was creating. The pen never stopped moving. As he came into the window, it was the sound of a crescendo. Michael sang under his breath, working out melody and words simultaneously. Around the studio, people stopped pretending to work on other things. Even the hardened session musicians were watching. This wasn't normal songwriting. This was pure creation happening in real time. 15 minutes. The chorus emerged clearly now. You've been hit by, you've been struck by, a smooth criminal. Prince's competitive expression was softening into something else. Recognition. This wasn't just good. This was special. 20 minutes. Michael was fully in the zone now. He grabbed a keyboard, one finger picking out a bass line while his other hand wrote lyrics. Annie, are you okay? So, Annie, are you okay? Are you okay, Annie? The question and answer structure, the rhythmic pulse, the storytelling. It was all there, complete, formed. Bruce Swedian, who'd engineered Michael's biggest hits, leaned over to Sarah Chen. In 30 years, I've never seen anything like this. 25 minutes. Michael was singing full voice now, the song taking its final shape. Verse, pre-chorus, chorus, all fitting together like puzzle pieces. Prince was no longer sitting. He was standing behind Michael, watching over his shoulder as musical history was being written in real time. Blood on the floor, and then you ran into the bedroom. 28 minutes. Michael wrote the final word and set down his pen. The studio clock read 12:17 a.m. 28 minutes exactly. Wait, don't miss this crucial moment. Michael Jackson stood slowly. He looked at Prince, then at the pages of lyrics and musical notations spread across the table. It's done, Michael said quietly. Prince checked the clock. How long? 28 minutes. Not 30. 28. Prince shook his head in disbelief. Nobody else spoke. The silence was profound, almost sacred. Prince walked over and looked at the papers. Song title written at the top, Smooth Criminal. Sing it, Prince said quietly. Michael picked up his microphone. He nodded to Bruce, who was already adjusting levels. And then Michael Jackson sang Smooth Criminal for the first time. Complete, perfect, exactly as the world would know it. When he finished, the studio erupted. Engineers, musicians, even the security guard who'd been watching from the door. Everyone was clapping and shouting. Prince stood there, staring at Michael with an expression mixing respect, amazement, and something close to awe. That, Prince said finally, is one hell of a pop song. He walked to where he'd left the envelope of money. You didn't just win the bet, MJ. You created a masterpiece. This is where everything gets incredible. Michael looked at the money, then at Prince's face. I didn't write it to win the bet. I wrote it because you challenged me to prove what I could do. I know, Prince replied. That's why you won. Michael set the money on the mixing board without looking at it. I want to hear something. What? I want to hear you sing it. Prince raised an eyebrow. You want me to sing a song you wrote 28 minutes ago? I want to hear what it sounds like with your voice. Two different interpretations of the same song. Prince looked around the room. The musicians were still there, instruments ready. You boys up for this? The band scrambled to positions. bass, drums, keyboards, guitar. "What's the key?" the bass player asked. "A minor," Michael said. "But Prince, feel free to change anything. Make it your own." What happened next has never been officially released. Prince sang "Smooth Criminal" in his own style, higher register, more funk, different phrasing, the same song, but completely transformed. When they finished, both artists looked at each other with expressions of pure artistic respect. "We need to record this properly," Michael said. Both versions. For the next 3 hours, they recorded multiple takes. Michael's definitive version and Prince's interpretation. And then, incredibly, a duet version where they traded verses. The duet was magic. Two of music's greatest voices creating something greater than either could achieve alone. When they finished, it was 4 a.m. The studio was littered with coffee cups and pages of notes. "So, what do we do with this?" Michael asked, gesturing to the tapes. Prince thought about it. "Your version goes on bad. It's your song, your album." "What about your version?" "Lock it in the vault. Some things are too special to commercialize." "You're not going to believe this next part." Both artists agreed. The duet version was too precious to release. It captured a moment of pure artistic collaboration that couldn't be replicated or marketed. Prince had it transferred to a master tape and locked in his Paisley Park vault with instructions. "Not to be released during our lifetimes." Michael kept the original handwritten lyrics, framed them, and hung them in his studio. Visitors would ask about them, and Michael would smile. "That's the night Prince proved me right and wrong at the same time." "Smooth Criminal" became one of Michael Jackson's biggest hits. The album Bad went on to produce 5 #1 singles. But music insiders knew the real story. It was written in 28 minutes on a bet. Prince never publicly discussed that night, but musicians who worked with him said he kept a photo from the session on his studio wall. Michael and Prince at the mixing board, both grinning, surrounded by papers and empty coffee cups. Years later, when journalists asked Michael about his songwriting process, he'd sometimes reference that night. "Sometimes the best songs come when you stop overthinking and start trusting your instincts." Prince was more cryptic. "Michael taught me something that night. Speed isn't the opposite of quality. Sometimes they're the same thing." The bet money? Michael donated it to a music education program for inner-city kids. "Some things are worth more than face value," he said. After both artists passed away, their estates discovered something remarkable in the archives. Both had kept detailed notes from that session. Michael's focused on melody and rhythm. Prince's on arrangement and production. Together, they formed a complete masterclass in songwriting. That night at Sunset Sound Studios proved something remarkable. Great artists don't just compete with each other. They inspire each other to reach heights they couldn't achieve alone. Prince's challenge didn't just win him $10,000. It gave the world Smooth Criminal. Michael proved he could create a masterpiece in 28 minutes. Prince proved he could recognize genius when he heard it. Together, they created a moment that changed both their understanding of what was possible. The recording of Prince singing Smooth Criminal remains locked in the Paisley Park vault. Some say it will be released eventually. Others believe it should stay private forever, a secret shared between two legends. If you had 30 minutes to prove your greatest talent, What would you create?